This program and its contents are designed for information and educational purposes only. This program does not render medical advice or professional services and is not intended to be a substitute for professional care. The information provided here should not be used for the purposes of diagnosing or treating a medical or psychiatric condition. If you have or suspect you may have a health problem, consult your healthcare provider.
Hi, welcome to Positive Momentum TV. I'm Diane Silva, and today I have Chris Silva, and we're going to continue our conversation on anxiety and travel, and those of us who experience fear of flying and different ways we've learned to deal with that and to overcome. We're going to kind of touch on the events of this week. Chris and I have both been working through some issues, trying to help me get on an aircraft to go on a trip in the next couple weeks, and it's a fairly large trip. It's one leg is 2.5 hours, the next leg is 7. So it's something that to me is kind of daunting, and I've been experiencing some anxiety at the best, very close to panic at times. So I went to my therapist, and we were talking about this, and one of the things he talked about is giving options. And one was to encourage Chris to still go no matter what. So before we go any further on the rest of this, and the other options I was given, what I want to do is address to Chris on how he feels when I say, wherever we, whether it's before we get on the first plane or when we're ready to change planes. What's your feelings on when I say, I'm going to encourage you to keep going?
That's going to be a challenging part because, number one, going to Hawaii, that in itself, I want you to go there with me. So it's one of those where I want you to be there. Yes, I do have family that's there that I will be visiting, doing that type of thing, but the challenging part for me will be at that moment. I mean, right now, I probably could say with a very high certainty level that I'm going to go.
Okay.
But at that moment, when you say you can't go, I can't say for sure whether I will or not.
What coping mechanisms are you considering putting into place to get you on that aircraft, even if I can't? And we're not saying I won't or can't.
Right.
We're going contingencies.
Right. Well, I feel like the one thing that I need to do is just prepare for either option. The intention is for me to continue on.
Mm-hmm.
But in the case of the fact that you may not go, it's like, okay, then what do we need to do? And having these options and already thinking through them helps me basically reduce my anxiety to the point where, okay, now I can basically, I can be like on autopilot and I can support you in whatever decision that you make.
Okay. And show me the reward versus the risk.
I think everybody's reward and risk is different. So what
And that's unfair
reward
to you.
for me
Yes.
is going to be different than yours.
Oh, fair enough.
So just as much as the anxiety for me, I mean, personally, I'm going to be a little nervous.
Okay, let's go on that.
Well, I think I don't want to generalize, but I am going to. I think a lot of people do have some level of anxiety as far as flying. Just because, number one, it's flying. You're flying in a plane that goes up in the air. You don't know exactly what goes on.
We're covering some of that.
one of the things that you have done, though, is with you overcoming your anxiety of fear of flying, you've learned more about aviation. You've learned, some general aviation things, how a plane flies, how it stays up in the air, all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that you do when we're on a plane is through your mind you start talking about it. It's like, okay, as you're taking off, you're going through what the pilot's going through.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, flaps are down. you know, take off, noses up, you get off the ground, gears up, and you go through the whole thing. And you're saying this out loud to me, and that's part of the excitement that you go through, thinking, okay, this is what, you know, everything's going good. So I think, as I said before, I think knowledge is power in the aspect of dealing with some anxiety, because I think fears and anxiety have to do with sometimes the lack of knowledge.
We're not always privy to the information. You know, is this operational? Does this meet the requirements? Does this meet the standards? Okay, yeah, maybe that